Monday, U.S. January 15th. I am DJ Bean. This is What Chaos. We got Sean DePaz here. And this next guy, I asked, hey, should we maybe take the day off for the holiday? And he said, what holiday? It's Pete Blackburn, everybody. Hi, Pete.
That's right. Famously white. Happy Martin Luther King Day, everybody.
It is Martin Luther King Day. I don't like that you said that's right when I accused you of not knowing about Martin Luther King Day. I was joking that you were racist.
I know. I was leaning into the bit.
Oh,
it makes you seem like the real asshole when you're proud to have a racist friend.
Oh, that's true. You got me there. Well, it's Pete, a.k.a. the Chicago Agenda, because he's doing this one from Chicago. It's DJ, a.k.a. Young Jordan, because I'm playing sick. And it's Sean, a.k.a. Mr. PWHL, because he's unflappable in his support of the PWHL.
Some banger games this weekend, boys.
Were there?
I saw a gigantic hit in yesterday's game, the Minnesota game.
Yeah.
Somebody got absolutely fucking destroyed in front of the net.
These
so
ladies, like,
shout out to the
throwing
women. They
hands,
are
too.
hitting.
Yeah, they like. There's a couple of scuffles after the whistle. They're throwing punches. Like, I'm about it.
Well, we got Monday.
They should make a tagline like the PWHL. It's hitting.
For introductory grab ass, what should we do? I'm wearing, this is a very sad admission, you noticed, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing an item of merchandise that I got from the Blue Jackets Pro Shop, which suggests I'm beginning to throw in the towel on us ever finding the Blue Jackets Pro Shop Wars footage. But Stephen A. Smith voice, don't I look good?
You do. That's a great sweatshirt. And I'm never fully going to give up hope that we're going to stumble across the Blue Jackets Pro Shop video. But like, as Sean said before we went on air, like, I hope that it happens in 5 years where it's like actually funny to go back and see like the early stages of Pro Shop Wars. Hopefully it becomes like this huge thing in a couple of years. And then we roll out a video from like the second one we ever did. And it's like, wow, this seems very, very old. So that's what I'm hoping for. As for my grabassery, I want to ask, like, on what level is your playing hurt? Because we've had this discussion many times in the past. When any guy gets sick, he just becomes the biggest baby in the world. And like, if he gets the sniffles, he acts like he's dying. So I want to know, like, if you are on the overreacting end of the spectrum, or if you're like Sean might be a woman, because that guy was actually dying for like 2 straight weeks and was showing up to work, fighting through it every single day.
There are some differences between us and Sean that I don't know. I don't want to say like they're surprising or anything, but like, Pete, you and I have always been able to work really well together, because I don't think there's ever been like a struggle between like who's the smart one. I think we're both like, we don't do smart one stuff. Sean is an actually smart person. That's been a learning curve for us. When he was sick, he came in and grinded, and we were like, is he who's he trying to impress? What's wrong with him? I think that's just like the way he is. I don't know if that's his generation or something, but yeah, when guys are sick, they are huge babies. So to answer your question, where am I on the sick scale? Somewhere between the sniffles and a light fever. Like, maybe at one point I was like 98.7 degrees, but I am really like, I am Liv Soprano, like doing the like, oh, like just take me now, as I was watching these football games yesterday. I have therapy today. I've requested it be remote because I don't want to drive for more than like 6 minutes at all today. I just want to be in bed and have a box of tissues and pound Z-Cam and all that shit. I am like, if I were a professional hockey player, they would expect me to play today, but I don't feel well, and I'm gonna be a huge bitch about it.
I'll tell you what's not 98.7 degrees. City of Chicago. I landed last night and it was -9. And right now I'm wearing like a sweatshirt, a shacket, and then like a nice little like thermal t-shirt underneath, and I'm dying. It is so hot in here. I have not perfected the art of wearing clothes for outside and trying to like be stylish about it, and then transitioning into a indoor space where the heat is like 75 degrees. So I might die today.
That's gonna be tough when we go to the All-Star game. Toronto, it's gonna be some cold ass shit there.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll
on the lake too.
Speaking of the All-Star game,
yes, we begin with NHL All Star rosters being set, and I know what you're thinking. I thought you guys don't care about All Star. There's big Oilers news. There's a lot of stuff going on in the NHL. There's Quinn Hughes shit. Don't you want to talk about that? To which I repeat, we begin with NHL All Star rosters being set because now we kind of do care about it. And you know what that is? Growth. Okay? So as of Saturday night, the full All Star rosters.
I've never heard of growth. I've never heard of growth.
That's fair. With this graphic that the NHL put out, the highlighted names are the players that were voted in. And the takeaways are there are a lot of Canucks. There are a lot of Maple Leafs. The Canucks, it appears, will be the most well-represented team at the NHL All-Star Game this season, which is kind of a surprise. I expected the NHL to fudge the numbers and for Leafs fans to show out in full force. They got a total of 4 players in there, 3 All-Star voted in. Canucks, meanwhile, 4 guys voted in to bring their total to 5. And you look at these rosters. Again, I never thought we would be big snub guys or anybody or standout guys really picking apart the NHL All-Star roster, but it does interest me now, so we're going to fucking do it. Pete, what stands out to you with this NHL All-Star roster?
I mean, like, Zach Hyman not getting in is devastating for us as a podcast. I mean, the Canucks, I feel like they are worthy of having all those guys in this year. They've been like lighting the league on fire to start. Obviously, you expect the Toronto Maple Leafs to have the inflated numbers like you mentioned because they're the home team. That always fucking happens. So, I mean, like, I haven't really like poured through the rosters too much. Like, I don't really care about the rosters all that much. It's more of like just kind of guys that we were hoping to get in, didn't get in. You know, Marchenko, Zach Hyman, and those sorts of guys. So that's a bummer, but like obviously you can't have everybody get in. Who did the Blackhawks end up putting in? Did they put in anybody?
It's Bedard. And we'll see if they end up sending a replacement, but I believe they currently have it's Bedard listed. And you know my thing. I was saying, like, put some makeup on him, do whatever you need to do, like get him there, have him wave, have him shake hands and kiss babies if you're allowed to kiss babies with a broken jaw. Just have him be part of that whole thing because it's fucking Connor Bedard, man.
I know that this conversation has been had a lot, but like quickly, do you think that the NHL should get rid of the every team gets a representative?
That's where we veer back into I don't care about the NHL All-Star Game. I'm like, I don't really care about that aspect of it, but I'm trying to think like what would we be losing here? And I think the big one is like Boone Jenner wouldn't be there. And Boone Jenner doesn't need to be there.
Right. And even if you wanted to do it like the initial rosters get selected and then every team gets a like a vote-in candidate or whatever, like maybe that works. I don't know. I think that like obviously teams would kind of fudge the numbers, teams with bigger fan bases and stuff like that. But you know, I feel like it's more of a calling card to a specific year and a specific All-Star game. If you were to have like 6 Vancouver Canucks or like that will be what the All-Star game is remembered for, that all these guys were there from a certain team or whatever. And, you know, I just don't think that every team needs a representative. I don't need to see Boone Jenner there. I don't need any Chicago Blackhawk that's not Connor Bedard. I don't need, whatever. Like it's crazy that every team automatically gets one.
Yeah, so you mentioned Zach Hyman before. I've got an outrage, and then I've got a really just flabbergasting one. I think the outrage, most should agree, Zach Hyman not being there is ridiculous. He has a better goals per game than pretty much all the forwards that were in there. He's third in the league in goals per game. He's just been a madman this season. Look, I understand that maybe Oilers fans who are voting would prioritize Leon Draisaitl because Leon Draisaitl is a better player, and if you're going to have an all-star event, Leon Draisaitl should be there. But Zach Hyman should have been in. The one that flabbergasts me the most, though, and here's where we start to give out our 3 stars early on in the show. Shout out Colorado Avalanche fans, because somehow you voted Alexandar Georgiev in there, and that one confuses me to no end. There are so many, there's better Avalanche players who you could have put in. I would have put in Mikko Rantanen. He deserves to be an all-star, and he's not in, but you put in Alexandar Georgiev, who, at the time of his selection, was 41st in the NHL in save percentage. 41st. Take away good goalies who didn't get in. Connor Ingram should be in over Alexandar Georgiev. We all agree, right?
Sub 900 save percentage.
There
Alexandar Georgiev.
898 save percentage. There are goalies that we complain about on this show who have been better than Alexandar Georgiev this season. So, as I said, never mind goalies like Connor Ingram with a 919 save percentage who aren't going. Goalies we have said are bad this season have been better than him. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, 901 save percentage. Stuart Skinner, 903 save percentage. Elvis Merzlikins, who looks like he's losing his job in Columbus, 907 save percentage. I joked that we should get Jonathan Quick in there, so both goalies from the Rangers should be in there. He has a 912 save percentage. He's been better than Georgiev. So this is like bordering on some weird John Scott shit where I can't tell if it's like a joke. Like, there are no stats about Georgiev that are remarkable in any way that make you think, oh, you got to send him. So I can't tell if it's some jokey shit or what, but this is the most flabbergasting selection.
You sent over the list of the All-Star, that the final list of rosters, and I thought that was a joke. Like, I thought you tried to pull a fast one.
I do that.
Be like, isn't this crazy? And apparently it's not. And I'm more confused as to why that was the guy that the Avalanche. Well, number one, I'm pretty confused as to why that was the guy that Avalanche fans were like, let's get this guy in. And number two, like, props to the Colorado Avalanche fans for having that sort of power in them. Shout out to them, because I didn't know they had it in them. Was unfamiliar with your game. Didn't know that you could like rig the NHL All Star vote with all those fans in Colorado. So big shouts.
41st in the NHL in save percentage. That means that he for sure shouldn't be on an All Star team, but he at least borderline should be on a team. 41st in the NHL in save percentage. That is ridiculous. Speaking of goaltenders selected, though, we have sent yet another player to the All-Star game in Jeremy Swayman. Congratulations to him, our fine, wonderful, beautiful guest. We're all clapping in here. Very nice. After being selected, though, he takes a little dig at the Bruins, saying, after dealing with what I did this summer with arbitration, hearing things that a player should never hear, it's pretty special to be in this situation. So good for him. That's amazing. I always kind of wondered that with Swayman. And yes, we had him on our show, so we could have asked him about it, but we were too busy doing grab ass with him, and that made it a better interview. That's when you take a player to arbitration, that's something that can stick with them for a long time. Famously, a stain on the Bruins was that they took Ray Bourque to arbitration. What are you doing? Is this going to be something that when Swayman is up, I believe he ended up taking a 2-year deal or being awarded a 2-year deal in arbitration, right?
I believe so. I could be wrong, though.
We can check right now.
Ask Rock.
What's that?
Ask Rock.
1 year, $3.75 million. So
okay.
They got to do a new deal with him as an RFA this summer anyway. And now he's kind of shoved it up their ass by being an all-star. So we're a players podcast. Congratulations to him. Do you think there's like a little bit of like, hey, Swayman loves it in Boston. I can guarantee you Swayman wants to be a Bruin for the rest of his life and he loves it. But do you think there's like a little bit of like yesterday's price is not today's price now with him?
Yes, he's definitely not taking a hometown discount. Like he got rubbed the wrong way, and can't say that I necessarily blame him. I don't know what was said in those meetings, but it seems like he was very pissed off over the summer. We had the discussion about whether we wanted to bring it up heading into that interview with him and Allmark, and I think we ultimately decided, like, looking at the quotes that he gave this summer, like asking him about that could have derailed the energy of that interview. So we elected not to, just based off of how pissed off he was over the summer. Clearly has not fully gone away, has stuck with him. And like, again, I can't blame him. Don't know what was said, but also like from Don Sweeney's perspective, the business is the business, and he didn't have a lot of money to throw around. He like had to pinch pennies over the summer and had to really kind of get around how little cap room he had. So like the situation is the situation. And I think that Don Sweeney and the Bruins front office can make that just a moment in the past when they head to the table again moving forward, but you can't upset him again. You can't piss him off. You have to kind of show him the value and the appreciation that he deserves, especially this season as an all-star and as somebody who has been the better goaltender in the tandem. Like, I think that Jeremy Swayman is right to be pissed off, and he is right to kind of get his due next time at the table. And I hope that he does, and I hope that he's in Boston for a long time. But like, you know, the situation is pretty bitter right now still, it seems like.
Yeah, good for him, though. Hopefully he gets his money. I mean, we all know we want those two goalies, he and Linus Ullmark, to be together forever. But we know that at some point it's going to be a tandem with him and somebody else. So good for you. Well-deserved all-star nod. Certainly more deserving than, let's say, another goalie who is selected. But I want to talk about another all-star, Quinn Hughes, because I want to say it was Friday on the NHL Network, something. Jackie Redmond was there. Bruce Boudreau says that while coaching the Vancouver Canucks, he was pressured to do some Twitter guy shit and move Quinn Hughes to forward. Listen to this.
I got to say this for the first time on TV. And I mean, I'm not going to say who, but somebody in that Vancouver organization tried to make Quinn Hughes a center last year.
What?
And I refused to do it. And I said, I'm not making him a center. I'm not making him a center. Wow. And they kept trying to put Quinn at center, and I am so happy I didn't. First of all, he would probably not taken it very well.
I don't think so.
And secondly, the year he's having a Norris Trophy kind of year, boy, it's quite a difference from him playing center on that team.
Bruce coming out here and dropping spicy nuggets on this edition.
That is real. I can taste the buffalo sauce.
Well, I've wanted to say that one thing for a year and a half, like or for over almost a year now, because I think it was about this time that I was let go last year. And but I mean, I would sit there and shake my head, and I'm going, Quinn Hughes is not playing center for this team. He's a defenseman.
I'm gonna say what we're all thinking here. Kevin Hayes' fingerprints are all over this.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. My reaction to that video when I saw it on Friday night, had a few drinks, maybe a little bit of an herbal plant or two. And I was like, what planet am I on right now after watching that clip? And like my reaction after that was like, all right, old man, back to your room. That's nice. Good. Like, just thinking that he was making this up for the sake of TV. But like, the more I thought of it, it doesn't seem that outrageous, because I mean, like, the idea of it is pretty outrageous, but also it's the Vancouver Canucks. And given their success this year, it's kind of easy to forget how like batshit crazy they've been for the last like 2-3 years in terms of organizational and like ownership and kind of the directive changing and being all over the place. So like, I don't necessarily, there's a non-zero chance that is actually true. And like, there are always the people in hockey that look at a very talented defenseman, a offensively gifted defenseman, a guy who can skate well, and go, well, why don't you just move him to forward? And that always happens. And I admittedly may have had that thought recently sneak into my brain, like brain poison, watching Mason Lohrei being like, oh, why don't they just move him to forward? And it's like, it is crazy, but it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that somebody within the Canucks organization was like, yeah, just move him to center.
I used to go up to Torrey Krug and be like, hey, like I read something really interesting in all of my mentions today, and they should move you to forward. Because all like Torrey Krug's like first 3 years in the NHL, Bruins fans were just like, move him to forward. He scores goals.
That one's an easy one though, because like he's small.
He's small.
He is offensively gifted, was like an offensive defenseman, just like a great passer, scored goals. Like that was so easy to just be like, well, just move him up to the wing.
Yeah, but you could be a small defenseman who defended well and was good. Like Brian Rafalski was an awesome player.
This is the same fan base that thought that Tuukka Rask was the fucking worst goalie in the league. So we can't really like. I know that he's a good defenseman or was a good defenseman at the time. And I know that like it probably wasn't the move, but it's not surprising that a big chunk of the fan base was like, yeah, move him up.
I also had the thought that you did though with the Bruce Boudreau thing of like, did that actually happen? Like, right. Is he okay? And
we also have an interview coming up tomorrow with a player who is a defenseman and a pretty good defenseman. And he essentially told us like, he believes that he can play forward. He thinks that like forward is a brain dead position, more or less, putting words in his mouth. Yeah. The easiest position in sports. You just go up there and fucking act like a madman, skate around, be a little crazy. In fairness, like playing center is a little bit different than playing wing in terms of defensive responsibility. But like if Quinn Hughes, I think that Quinn Hughes could be a pretty decent center. That was going to be the
question. Like, would Quinn Hughes be a good center? And the answer is Quinn Hughes would be a fucking awesome center.
Right. Do the Canucks need an awesome center more than they need an awesome defenseman on the blue line? Probably not. So, I think it's more valuable to have Quinn Hughes, one of the better defensemen in the league, playing the blue line back there, and the position that he's played for basically his entire life. I wouldn't necessarily want to throw that into a blender, but I don't know. I'm in favor of like sort of positionless hockey. So
I like the idea of taking that Bruce Boudreau thing and being like, yeah, why don't you fucking do it?
Right. Instead of doing 3-on-3 at the All Star Game, have 5-on-5, but play everybody out of position. That would be fucking hilarious.
Oh man, if they did, I mean, he would not be like 3-on-3. Quinn Hughes center would not be a problem at all. I love the idea of make him play center at the All Star Game and then be like, yeah, no wonder you were fired.
How about this? Instead of to fix the All Star Game in the selection process, what if they opened up voting by position and you could vote in any player for that position? So it's like, okay, for the Western Conference, we need a center. Go vote. And you can vote in like Cale Makar to play center. And then you have like, okay, backup goalie for the Western Conference or for this division or whatever. All right, vote him in. All right, Leon Draisaitl, he's playing goalie for the Western Conference. Just open it up and let's get crazy.
Even with all that happening, I would not vote for Alexandar Georgiev to play goalie in the All Star Game. That wouldn't even
cross my mind.
That would still seem like a massive reach to me. Let's talk about.
There's something in the water in Colorado where goaltenders are just like defying the odds and the trends of the entire league. Like they won a Stanley Cup despite having pretty bad goaltending for that entire run. That's never happened in the last like 10 years. So like, I don't think it was sub 900 save percentage, but it was Kemper had like a 901, 902 save percentage during that playoff run. And that's so low for a Stanley Cup winning goaltender. Then, you have your goaltender voted into the All-Star Game with a sub 900 save percentage. That's insane. I can't remember the last time that's happened. So something in the water in Colorado where goaltending like doesn't matter apparently.
Pete on the late 90s Avalanche, goaltending doesn't matter. And it's just like an infographic of Patrick Waugh and you being like, fuck that guy, he stunk. Let's talk about what had us texting all weekend, which is the All-Star jerseys, because on Saturday they revealed the All-Star jerseys, and these look different than any other All-Star jersey we've seen. They were made in collaboration with Drew House, which is something that has to do with Justin Bieber. And at first, these things were quite striking. Everybody has a strong opinion on them. So I'll just start and ask, like, dislike, growing on you, how do you feel about them?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a journey, right? Like I saw these and pretty much like everybody else, my first reaction was these are insane. And not in a complimentary or derogatory way, just straight up insane. They're so goofy and so cartoonish and so like unlike anything that we've seen in a while that these jerseys seem like they belong in like Arkham Asylum. They're just insane. Like they look like they would be the Joker's favorite NHL All Star Game jersey. So, and then 20 minutes later, I was like, okay, yes, I love these. They're over the top. They're crazy. They're taking a big swing here, and I do like them. I don't think that they're. So my take is they're awful, but I love them.
At first, when I saw them, I immediately quote tweeted with Mario Party ass because they got huge Mario Party vibes to them in that they have like the cartoon stars all over the place. And you know when you see something that you know is ridiculous, but you know that eventually you're going to like it, and you're like, no, brain, don't do this. I remember the first time I heard TikTok by Kesha, I was like, this is bad, DJ. Don't like this.
Tate McRae's music.
Don't like a lot of Tate McRae songs. You're like, come on, this is not very good. And you like within a half an hour, you're like, I'm all in. We experienced the same exact thing. I didn't see that you'd gone through this. I texted you and I was like, over the last like 10, 15 minutes, I've come around on this and I fucking knew I would. And you were like, dude, that's exactly what fucking happened to me. You had a tweet about it. We all kind of started with, this is ridiculous. This is bad, and got to, this is ridiculous. This is fun. It was when I saw the back of the jersey where they have the name below Tate McRae song title style, all lowercase, that I was like, this is curated stupidity. They have made every ridiculous choice they possibly could. You threw out there on Instagram, give us one word to describe these jerseys, and it kind of ran the gamut. We got McDonald's. We got, looks like the Church's Chicken logo. That might be more than one word. We got Patrick Star and fishnets. Chuck E. Cheese. Curated. Mighty Morphin. Coley said it looks like a motocross jersey. That, I think, is the most apt description. The red one especially looks very motocrossy, but I somehow am on board with them. I do think their wearability will suck because the NHL part is the NHL crest is so huge that when you sit down, it's going to look really bad on you. Sean, where do you fall on these?
Well, first off, you complain about the crust a lot. Nobody gets dressed to sit down. First off, so it might
That's
be
true.
slightly uncomfortable at times when you're sitting down, but that never factors into my judgment of jerseys. I like them instantly. The colors, it depends on which color. It hits a little different because generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of black and blue together. So that one gives me kind of
blue
like
one sucks.
Yeah, but the red one is aggressively motocross, but the white and yellow go crazy to me. I generally speaking hate the teams in the NHL that wear yellow, so to be able to have a yellow NHL jersey would be pretty awesome. But the white is cleanest thing. To me, something that no one ever wants to bring up is Adidas. I'm so goddamn tired of the three lines being everywhere, and they are just so invasive, and I think add to the motocross look. But I love the crazy font. I love the hand-drawn energy of the logo. I love the name on the bottom. Once you get into the red and blue and you're adding a third color, it becomes a little bit too much for me, but I like the yellow one.
So I like the red, and the red very much looks like something I would wear. Also, I am a big fan of royal blue and black. Even when I was a bit more fashionable, when I was a little younger, I was a big fan of the navy and black power clash, and you have to be very, very careful when you do that. But if you own that, especially if you have dark features, that's a very, very good look.
You love like the navy with dark colors because you famously love that Oilers jersey too, the flat Oilers alternate, and I hate that jersey. The red one to me looks like very, very Chinese and like very KHL-esque. What it does, it's like the Chinese flag or whatever.
You can't say, don't say Chinese on MLK. you're just running the gamut on. You can't say Chinese.
What?
I'm
does
fucking
though.
with you.
I was like, what are you talking about? My favorite I think is the gold, the gold on gold. I think that's awesome. But like, yeah, it's. I think I texted it in the group before it actually came out that it was like Drew House and Bieber. That was. I think I texted. This has Jimmy Hayes. Never mind. This has Justin Bieber's fingerprints all over it because it just like it seems so goofy and like that new. I don't think I can call it like Gen Z because I don't even think Justin Bieber's Gen Z, but like that new
Very
sort of like fashion style where it's like outrageously kind of like goofy and you mentioned like that they don't have stripes on the bottom and you think that every NHL jersey that doesn't have stripes on the bottom.
I think that if you don't have stripes on the bottom, you're going to look like a practice jersey, I think.
But so like I think it's curated to be that way just because like the new style is oversized everything. And then I think that if you put the stripes on the bottom, it would limit like this is so baggy and oversized. So I think that it was designed that way and that's kind of goes back to Sean's point about the stripes on the sleeves, like the actual torso part of the jersey has no design outside of the actual like crest. So they had to kind of spice it up elsewhere. And I think that's why you have the three stripes on the sleeves with the stars on the sleeves. And then on the back, you get a little bit more crazy with the design as well.
Two things I want to say to the chat. I agree. He said that with his chest. We'll talk about it after the show.
Wait, I can't see the chat, so this is devastating in
he said it with his chest.
A remote location.
Two, I want to pick up on the thing you said about oversized. Now I think we're cooking because I wondered about the wearability. If I get that so I'm like, when I'm having a good day, I'm a 46. When I'm having like right now, I'm probably a 50.
Mm-hmm.
I might get that in like a 54 and let it really kind of wash over me. I think that would look really good oversized.
I think that's what it was like essentially designed to be. Like when you look at what Bieber wears crazy oversized clothing. Even when he wears hockey jerseys, like his Matthews jerseys are always a little long, a little huge. But like this is the kind of jersey that's going to look awesome if you wear it a little bit bigger with like a hoodie underneath.
That's why I chose this picture specifically to show, because I feel like this picture, specifically the girl wearing the yellow jersey, like very much demonstrates kind of what they were going for with these jerseys. Mm-hmm. They're not for hockey fans. They're meant for TikTokers. They're meant for
girls wearing these jerseys like as dresses is going to be cool as fuck.
Yes. What I was going to say is
shout out Tate.
I'm very interested in how the full on ice uniform looks, because I'm curious if they're going to be wearing same color shorts, same color helmets.
I hope not.
Or if they're going to just go black like they did last year.
I hope all of them have black pants with like the matching color on the socks.
I hope they have like light wash jeans.
I kind of want them to go fucking like full blown Wiggles or so like I just
Color Rush?
all Color Rush, yeah. Especially with like the yellow, that would be, or the white. The white would look icy. That would look cool. The yellow would be the most nauseating thing ever. I am with you. I'm not going to say a certain ethnicity with a hard energy like you did, but it is
that was a hard CH.
Yeah, it was very very KHL energy. Like it does have very like not major league energy, and I do respect that.
Oh, okay.
It's so like the jarring part of it for me. One of the most jarring parts was last year we had one of the coolest and like just I think objectively awesome All Star Game jersey designs, and it was fun, but it was also a All Star Game in Florida, I believe, and so like non-traditional market, whatever. Like let's have fun with it, let's get crazy. And then the next year it's in Toronto. I was expecting the jerseys to be way stuffier and like more traditional being in Toronto. And then you go from a objectively great jersey design to this, which is taking a massive swing in terms of like cool factor and like are appealing to a much different audience. Like I bet all the old heads in Toronto fucking hate this jersey with the burning fire of 1,000 suns.
Okay, so here's a question I have because I have never bought an all-star jersey. Are you allowed, or is it socially acceptable to get an all-star jersey of a player that is an all-star with any 4 of these? Or does it have to be specific to which team they end up playing for? Because there's going to be an all-star draft with 4 captains, 1 for each division, and Sam Reinhart might end up playing in the Metro or whatever, and I don't know, Alexandar Georgiev might end up in the Atlantic. Do you have to get the one specific to the team for which they play, or can you get an all-star with the jersey that you prefer?
I don't know the answer to that question because I don't know how the draft specifically works this year. But I know that in last year's where they had like the interchangeable jerseys, like they didn't have a specific jersey for, or did they?
So
Did
they ended up, it ended up being where like players from both conferences ended up wearing both jerseys.
Same
but
jersey,
when
yeah.
they released them, like the black one was West and the white one was East or something like that. So that's what I feel like is going to happen here, where the individual teams are going to end up selling their players for the division they're supposed to be. So like the Pacific, I think, is red. I think Pacific teams are going to end up selling their players in those jerseys, and then guys are just going to end up wearing whatever jerseys they end up wearing at the All-Star game.
I mean, to answer your question, DJ, I think like logistically, it's probably going to be tough, I would imagine, because last year I tried to buy a Tage Thompson All-Star Game jersey.
Exactly. Yep.
And Tage Thompson was elected to the All-Star Game, but didn't end up going because he got hurt in the last game before the All-Star break. They wouldn't let me buy a Tage Thompson All-Star Game jersey. They just they didn't have them. I couldn't buy them. I tried to put in like a special order through Cool Hockey. Cool Hockey was like, we can't make these. We're not allowed to. So I ended up having to get a blank one. But like, even for a player who was elected to the All-Star Game and would have worn both jerseys had he gone, I wasn't allowed to buy the jersey. So I feel like you're going to have a hard time buying a jersey for a player who doesn't actually wear that jersey.
And like, do you have to wait? Do you have to wait until the teams are even drafted to do that? I'm going to jump on the NHL's store right now to see, because
I have it up. You can buy the jerseys, but you can't buy them with players yet, it appears.
Okay,
so yeah.
This makes it a toughie because there are 2 jerseys that I would like, and both of these players are in the Pacific Division. Shocker. Like, I would love a Leon Draisaitl All-Star jersey. I think the lowercase Draisaitl goes pretty hard. And then just out of allegiance, I would like a Frank Vetrano All-Star jersey.
Yeah.
But would I be getting 2 red ones? Could I get like a yellow Frank Vetrano one? Could I get a blue Leon Draisaitl one? These are the questions that keep me up at night.
My thing is as a person with a capitalized letter in the middle of their last name, McDavid, McKinnon, what are they going to do about their jerseys?
Oh, good question. I mean,
all
I think
lowercase.
Stylistically, you would have to, I believe, keep it all lowercase.
I think so too, but that's
somebody asked which is for which. The Pacific one is red. The Atlantic one is blue. The Metro one is white. And the Central one is yellow.
See, I feel like that's not how it. Like I know that was listed somewhere, but I don't think, because like currently, if you're on the store, it does not say that. It just says jersey, jersey, jersey. It doesn't say which division. So ultimately, I don't think there is going to be any kind of like divisional alignment. I feel like you're not going to be able to get jerseys with players on them until they're drafted. Well, I don't know when the draft is off the top of my head.
Let me just ask you both.
Dream scenario for me is being able to get a yellow Nathan McKinnon jersey.
Yeah, I would love Clayton Keller or Deline to end up with a white jersey, because those are easily my favorite. But as of right now, I think the Central was originally listed as yellow, and so if I have to get a Clayton Keller,
we're going to the All-Star. We're all going to the All-Star game, and I assume that we're all going to buy a jersey. I feel like we all have to buy different ones. So are we making an agreement that like Sean wants the white one, I want the yellow one, and DJ, I would assume that. I feel like you should get. I feel like
the blue and the red are my 2 favorite anyway. So
okay, good. I feel like you should get the red. I feel like it's. I mean, it's my personal preference, but I feel like that red would look great on you and it would pop.
I've been told by friends that I wear a lot of red. They've not like, hey, that's your color. It looks great on you. They were just like, you stop wearing so much red shit all the time. They said it more like they said it the way that you said Chinese earlier. They said like there was like a little something to it, and I was like, "What's this guy's problem?"
So the draft isn't until the Thursday before the game, though. So like the day
That's the thing. Like, so like, would you really have to wait? And then are they going to have it on site in Toronto? They're going to have to be working fast and furious.
I kind of take back what I said. I feel like they're going to, well, no. I guess this is what I said. I feel like they are just going to end up selling the jerseys based on the division that the players are from, and whatever they end up wearing in the game doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
That's sloppy.
I
No,
agree.
see,
Or you're going to be able to order essentially any player for any color jersey, which could get messy.
But I do want to know, just like personally, like, do you think it is a faux pas though if you wear,
No.
if you get a jersey that player didn't wear in the game? Because I think that no one fucking cares about that game
Nobody's
anyway.
going to care. Nobody's going to remember.
And no
It
one's gonna
doesn't
know.
matter.
Well, yeah, people won't remember. I will have a problem with it. Like if somebody is from the Pacific, which is supposed to be red, they end up wearing white, and you get a blue jersey with that player, I think you're fucked in the head. That makes no sense to me. But I think you're going to get into some weird situations. But I feel like it either has to be the division that they're assigned to or the jersey they end up wearing. You can't just choose any jersey because that's your favorite color.
Well, let me tell you, I've been under the weather the last few days, and the only thing that has kept me happy is pounding two things. Soup, shout out Whole Foods. I get that mom's chicken soup. Just inhale that
I've
stuff.
heard great things.
You,
I've never been to a Whole Foods, but
wow. That's great. I mean, you're a Wegmans guy.
I am a Wegmans guy. I grew up poor. So
Soup and Factor smoothies. That has been like my meal. I've just been living off these Factor smoothies the last couple of days. Fortunately, my refrigerator is stocked with them. I have used these things for every purpose. I've used them as a snack. I've used them in between meals, and I've used them as meals when I've been on the go. They are so good. I speak more specifically to the smoothies because those are my favorite part of the Factor experience. Pete loves the microwavable meals. We both have been doing both of them for a while now. They're so easy. You pop them in the microwave for a couple of minutes. It's real ingredients. It's real food. It's nothing that's going to make you feel sluggish or bad afterwards. And for when you are a little sick and you're just like, you know what? I need some vitamin C. I need some fruit in me. It's those smoothies, man. And they're hitting the spot for me. I've been doing the mango ones. Those are my favorite, but there's also the strawberry banana. They come in so many different flavors. They're so good. You just take them out of your refrigerator, suck them down, and they're delicious.
I have a question. Did you get the wellness shots in like your last care package? They
Not
sent me
yet,
like
no.
they sent me like a flight of wellness shots, and I was just curious to see if you had tried them yet, because I haven't tried them, and I'm like a little nervous to try them because they have like some really funky wellness shots. Like they're like cleanse shots. One of the ones that I looked at yesterday was it has like cayenne pepper in it. And like I think that it's supposed to kind of like reset your body a little bit. And I was thinking about doing one yesterday because I knew that I wasn't going to have like a very healthy day in terms of or I hadn't had a healthy weekend, honestly. But I was afraid to do one of those wellness shots before getting on a plane, because let me tell you, if it works like a cleanse and it kind of does some things to your body, I was afraid that I was going to be in a situation where it would be non-ideal. But I am excited to try them when I get back. I was just curious to see if you had tried them.
You don't want to be a little too regular when you're about to get on a plane.
That's right.
I hear what you're saying. That sounds very Factor, though, doesn't it? That they would make wellness shots.
Like everything else has worked and been awesome. So I you know, when I was looking at those wellness shots, I was like, I expect these to work, but I don't know if I want them to work to their fullest degree right now.
It's just easy if you're busy and you're doing a bunch of stuff and you don't have time to like meal prep and everything. Like I've been eating a little healthier the last couple of weeks, and Factor has made that so much easier. Like I'm using the air fryer. I'm popping in Factor meals when I can, grabbing fruit here and there. Like Factor is a very, very good, let's say, first line center for a healthy and balanced lifestyle. So head to factormeals.com/whatchaos50. Use code whatchaos50 to get 50% off. That's code whatchaos50 at factormeals.com/whatchaos50 to get 50% off.
Please do that. Please do that, because I want to keep Factor on our good side. I like actually really, really rely on their care packages. I need another one. I need more microwavable meals. I don't want to go food shopping. And also the smoothies are unbelievable. So please go to factor.com and use promo code chaos for 20% off.
If you are listening to this podcast, please head to YouTube /@WhatChaosShow. Smash that subscribe button. Our YouTube is getting there, man. We are building that. We hit a nice metric recently, but we're trying to get even further, keep climbing. It's very tough to grow a YouTube page. It's probably the toughest.
I want to say, I think that I think at January 1st, US January 1st, you set the goal. You wanted to be at 2,500 for All-Star break for the YouTube page. And I'll tell you what, buddy, we got there. We're at 2,500. And I think that you moved the goalposts and you said you want to be at 3.
No, I want to be at 3,000 for the All-Star break.
You want to be at 3,000 for the All-Star break. So hit subscribe on the YouTube page. Help make DJ's dreams come true. And I want to be at like 5,000 by the end of the season. So
3,000 by the All-Star break, 5,000 by the end of the season. And we're going to be doing we're going to be doing tons of stuff during the playoffs, especially. Like we are going to be everywhere for
even if you listen on podcast forums, because I look at our podcast numbers and we're doing pretty well in terms of listens. So like even if you don't listen on or watch on YouTube and you don't really have any interest in doing it, do us a favor and just go to YouTube and hit the subscribe button. It's not going to fuck up your algorithm. It's not going to do anything. Just hit the subscribe button for the sake of boosting our numbers. We would love that. Love it. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I do want to talk about some of the stuff that came out this weekend. Kevin Weeks had one hell of a weekend, just like popping off the pin and the grenade and throwing it out there and just seeing what happens. He did that with Jacob Markstrom on Friday and also did it with Elvis Merzlikins on Friday in terms of just tweeting out like the eyeball emojis. And I don't know if there was ever any follow-up. I've been kind of logged off for the past couple of days, but Jacob Markstrom is still with the Calgary Flames. Elvis Merzlikins is still with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I am waiting for the first domino to fall in terms of the goaltending market because there are a lot of guys that have been thrown out there as potential candidates to be moved. And it does seem inevitable that there's going to be a pretty significant goaltender carousel underway at some point this season. And it just seems like the market is just waiting for the first shoe to drop. And I'm curious to see what that is and when it happens.
Yeah, I'm surprised that nothing has happened yet. Elliot Friedman said that the Flames will not approach Jacob Markstrom about his no movement clause unless they get some sort of big, huge offer. Markstrom is 33, has a full no movement clause, and 2 years after this at $6 million per. So it would be tough to move that this season anyway. Obviously, he's having a good season. I want to say he's got like a 9-12 save percentage. Any team that needs a goalie should be interested in his services. I don't think the Flames and Oilers are doing any trades unless they're swaps of bad contracts like they did with James Neal and Milan Lucic back in the day. But like that's a team that if they could make it work, I'm sure the Oilers would be interested. Merzlikins is an interesting one because as we said during the Georgiev conversation, like he hasn't been that bad. I think the Blue Jackets just think he's not the guy. And when they're in a rebuild, they'd rather maybe take some chances on. I know they've got a young Russian goaltender that they like, and they want to find out what they have in him. So guys are going to be moved at some point. I just think it's the financial aspect. Like Merzlikins makes real money. Obviously, Markstrom makes real money, and it's tough to move those guys without big money coming back. And if you're the Flames, you should be like, no, we have a guy that is going to potentially put a team over the top. We don't want to have to take a bad contract back or money that we don't like. We already have bad money on our roster. Believe you me.
Yeah. And I mean, like, especially this year too, I feel like the financial situations of most teams this year are pretty dire and there's not a lot of flexibility. But like, there's also, if you want to make it work and you're desperate enough to make it work, you will find a way to make it work. Especially you could have double retention, and things like that. Like that's something I always say, like I don't really pay super close attention to the money a lot because if a team wants to get a guy, they will find a way to get that guy. Look at the Vegas Golden Knights, man. Like they never have money. and they will always find a way to get the guy that they want. What's Markstrom's no trade situation?
It's no move.
Like, is it a full no move?
Yes.
Okay, so that's obviously another hurdle. Is there like a specific landing spot that would intrigue you more than anywhere else for him specifically? Because I think that if we're talking about guys that are available and kind of on the block, he's probably the best and most intriguing
So
goaltender.
it's Edmonton or Toronto, and I don't think
I
either
disagree.
are close to feasible.
I disagree. I think it's New Jersey. I think Jacob Markstrom to the Devils would be the most
That's feasible.
needle moving and feasible. Yeah, right. Like, I think that if Jersey were able to get Jacob Markstrom, they're a completely different team. He is a very, very good goaltender, and I really do think the Devils are a goaltender away from like changing the course of this season. They are a good team that's continuously burned by bad goaltending. And that's like why I see them as a team that may be desperate enough to just find out whatever way they need to do to get that guy in the door, because he can make the difference for them.
The Oilers, meanwhile, have won their 10th game in a row. They barely beat the Canadiens Saturday night in overtime for their 10th straight win. They currently have the second wild card spot in the West, despite having 4 games in hand on the Predators. They are 1 point behind the Kings in the Pacific. Boy, oh boy. They've gone from they're going to be a wild card team to, and I know they're not going to win every game the rest of the season, but like they are smack dab in the Pacific conversation, which is where I thought they would end up kind of becoming. They were just so fucking far out of it that it seemed unrealistic in November. But here they are now, and they're still winning games even when they don't play particularly well. They didn't play well against the against the Blackhawks. I think the Blackhawks outplayed them. The Canadiens were really good against them, but they're still finding ways to win games. They've won 10 games in a row, Peter, which makes me wonder, because this is a franchise record for the Oilers. So I crunched some numbers. I think Sean has them here. Who is the GOAT? Because Connor McDavid has won 10 games in a row with the Oilers, and then Wayne Gretzky just straight up never did that. So I think that we can settle that debate right now. The GOAT in Edmonton and
Wayne
everywhere
Gretzky
else.
Never won 10 games in a row as a player? Like,
No.
Ever?
No.
Ever? We know he certainly didn't do it as a coach.
I tried to look. So it's a franchise record for. I don't know if he did it with the Kings, but probably not.
I mean, you can't say that. You can't just like randomly throw that out there.
I didn't randomly throw it out there. I made a graphic. That's curated.
Just not doing your research and being like,
well,
yeah.
I checked, they didn't in the postseason, and they didn't when Gretzky was there as a player. So unless they won 10 when he was in Los Angeles, which this is more skewed towards the Oilers anyway, McDavid greater than Gretzky.
Okay. I just, sorry, I'm panicking right now because I just realized that the Seattle Kraken play at noon. Or I guess
I was going to say, we've done this
time.
whole show. There's currently an NHL hockey game being played between the San Jose Sharks and Buffalo Sabres.
Are you properly tracking the...
I am, yeah. We won...
Days? What about days with?
Yes,
or games
I am
with?
tracking that as well.
I was going to say, days with is just 15. Or I guess 14.
Okay.
Because it was.
I don't have it directly up in front of me right now, but I do need to get this bet in the next 5 minutes. They're playing the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they have 5-0 since taking over the Chaos Chain, and they've won 9 straight games.
Yeah.
So, like, Kraken, second hottest team in hockey?
It's very, very impressive. Final thoughts, I will say, we got to talk about the Panthers Pride jersey, because we saw that. I don't know if did they wear it over the weekend, or they showed that they were going to do some shit with it. It's designed by Enrico Serino, a South Florida artist who is a mixed media collage artist. He describes his style as a fusion of color and memories glued together with lots of camp. And that's exactly what that shit looks like. That is just like the wildest shit I've ever seen in my life. There's a sentence on the crest. It just says, "We are fierce." It is pink as hell. It is colorful as hell. It says pride on there. If you're somebody who gets mad about gay jerseys, close your eyes because this one goes for it. I absolutely love it.
I love it as well. That is gay as hell, and I respect it. I love the. I've never been more on Sean's side than I am when it comes to pride jerseys. Sean hates, and I've never even had this take before Sean put it in my brain. Sean hates when they just take the regular logo and slap a rainbow on it. And I also agree.
Columbus just dropped theirs, and it's literally just a rainbow.
I know that one
logo. Very depressing.
Once the Panthers come out with this, if you have some regular logo that has a rainbow on it, you either gotta like just slide that under the radar, pretend it doesn't happen, or you got to go back to the drawing board. Hire Enrico Serino.
I'm fully in favor of teams taking their logo and twisting it and making it like straight up as gay as possible. That seems like the way to approach pride jerseys.
Right. I'm all for it.
I absolutely love the inclusion of the pride tape. Like
I like the
fingernails are painted in the rainbow colors of this panther. Like
it's just crazy. My brain doesn't work in a way like that. Like my brain could not bring all of this chaos together in a way that looks organized if I tried.
Yeah, if that had stripes on it, I'd for sure buy one.
I just want to see I just want to see like the different designs of NHL logos, like made to be as gay as possible.
Yeah, shout out
seems
Enrico
like
Serino.
Quite funny.
Do we have any more stars? Anybody else that we want to shout out? What happened with the Red Wings last night? Did they end up winning against the Leafs? I know the Leafs did a hilariously Leafs thing. They blew a 3-0 lead against
the Red Wings won again.
Avalanche. But the Red Wings arrived at the game in Toronto last night, 90 minutes before puck drop. They ended up winning.
I thought that I saw that they won. I could be they won 4-2.
That's fucking very funny. Shout out the Leafs. They get all three of my stars.
That's incredible.
Let's spin the wheel, Sean. Give me the wheel. Give me the wheel. Spin it. Spin it. All right, this one's on me. What can I say about the Toronto Maple Leafs? Let's catch you up with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Their last two games, they have blown a 3-0 lead and lost to a team that arrived at their home game 90 minutes before a puck drop. Good job, Leafs. Let's spin it for Pete. Spin that wheel for Pete. Spin that wheel for Pete. Say something about the Ducks, Pete.
Oh, the Anaheim Ducks, huh?
Say it.
They got Frankfurt Toronto, and Frankfurt Toronto is an all-star this year.
Whoa.
Other than that, Leo Carlson's back, by the way. Leo Carlson returning to the lineup. So shout out Leo. Manage that load, pal.
All right, spin it for Sean. Do we do this for Sean too, or do we just...
You haven't yet, but let's...
Spin that wheel for Sean. Now spin that wheel for me. Say it about your boys.
Pittsburgh Penguins. Let's go. They are about to take...
Oh, that's right.
They're about to do it. They're about to take the chaos chain.
This is the first opportunity.
Penguins. Yeah, this is the first opportunity
that one of us can have to claim the chain.
Yeah, my Pittsburgh Penguins, lifelong Penguins fan, as many of you know, got a Sidney Crosby tattoo.
Wow.
They're here to take it at 1 p.m. Eastern. Shout out. It's all connected. My Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen and my Buffalo Bills, having to have that game moved to today. So both the Sabres and Penguins games got moved up. So now we got a little midday hockey.
Yeah, last thing, Sean is wearing his Josh Allen jersey today. I was clapping, hooting, and hollering when he walked into the office. This is a Buffalo Bills podcast right now because we want Sean to be happy. We want. I
want the Bills to win.
If anybody has one Buffalo Bills fan friend, they're not like the Bills Mafia people. Like in real life, Bills fans aren't jumping on tables and shit. They're like, can I just fucking get a good season, please? And
no. Bills fans, I am very much. I'll jump through a table if the situation calls for it, but there are no tables present. So what am I to be but calm and composed?
All right.
It's gonna get ugly tonight.
I want a Bills Lions Super Bowl. Like that would be incredible. Some fan base would be the happiest group of people that I've ever seen in my life. So I'm rooting for Bills Lions. I don't know if while we're speaking about fan bases that have been a little tortured recently, I'm going to like the worst hockey game ever tomorrow. It's like maybe Oil Shark Bowl in its own right. They're different places, but like Blackhawks Sharks without Connor Bedard in the mix, like possibly the most depressing NHL game of the season, and I can't.
Bedardless Blackhawks against the Sharks, really, really terrible.
Yeah,
and
incredible.
For reasons we cannot yet reveal, I am also strongly rooting for a Lions Bills Super Bowl. I don't know if any of you guys watched like the Dan Campbell stuff after the game last night. Did you see him in the locker room? Exactly what you would fucking think it was. Like, I was crying. For real crying, and maybe just I was crying because I'm a little sick and I'm a baby when I'm sick. But like that guy, his attitude, the Lions mentality, fuck yeah, get them to the Super Bowl, get the Bills to the Super Bowl.
If the Bills don't make it, I'm rooting for the Chiefs. I'm sorry, because I just want to see like Taylor Swift week at Super Bowl. I want to see how many people just like lose their minds, including
my nightmare.
you.
That is
I
my
know, but
I'm triggering me.
I just want to see, like, as somebody who's just like rooting for the chaos, I want Taylor Swift to be involved with Super Bowl week.
First off, Detroit fans don't deserve it. I can't live in a world in which Detroit gets their happiness.
What?
Before Buffalo gets
That's
ours.
crazy.
They don't deserve it more than Buffalo. They don't deserve it more than Buffalo, is what I meant to say. They deserve it, but they can't get it before we do.
They're the Buffalo Bills of the NFC.
No,
they deserve it just as much as you guys do.
Yeah, they are.
The Lions fans
lose
crazy,
4 straight Super Bowls, and then you could be the Buffalo Bills or whatever fucking conference you're in.
You have Detroit Lions fans can't even fathom the idea of making one Super Bowl.
Exactly. They're losers. They don't.
You're Kyle Kuzmaing right now, Sean. You're Kyle Kuzmaing.
I don't exactly understand what that means.
Kyle Kuzma sent the tweet about the Pistons. Remember?
No.
Kyle Kuzma sent a tweet about the Pistons losing their record like losing streak game, and everybody was like, "Brother, you're on the Wizards." So that's I guess like you're the Bills looking down on another team, and
no, it's not about looking down on them. It's about them not having they don't know pain in the way that Bills fans.
You're comparing your pain, the pain of the two fan bases, and like. I understand that there are two different types of pain and misery as a sports fan. It's the like always getting to be the bridesmaid and never the bride, which is essentially kind of what the Bills are in the sense they've made Super Bowls, but they've never won it, and they've won them in devastating fashion. But like the Detroit Lions are never even invited to the wedding. Like they have been so miserable in such a depressing franchise, and their fans still show out like crazy and still support that team like crazy. So like, don't look down on them as a fan base. I have to defend.
Oh, I'm not
Detroit
looking down.
Lions.
No, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not looking down on them as a fan base. And if the Bills get eliminated, I want the Lions to win objectively. All as I'm saying is that their pain is not in the same division. Same tier of pain as the pain that Bills fans have suffered over the last 50 years.
I think I can agree with because like the Lions fans have never thought it was going to happen. Bills fans have like Red Sox pain. That was probably like the biggest pain for a while because every now and then the team would make a run or they'd go deep in the playoffs, but you'd be like, this ends with you losing. That's maybe where Bills fans lie.
Because what people don't understand about the Bills is that the Bills are like one of the most successful franchises in the NFL, but they've just had Tom Brady in the division for the last 20 years, so it's been miserable. Like the Bills should have a Super Bowl, and they don't yet. The Lions just kind of suck. Well, I was going to say to another thing you were saying about the Taylor Swift thing. Everyone was complaining about the Peacock broadcast. If they would have done a Swiftless, like Taylor Swift free, only on Peacock, their numbers would have been way better. I guarantee it.
Yeah, the swag circuit.
That would have been a great
ultimate broadcast. That was on MLK Day weekend, and we had Taylor Swift doing whatever the fuck that swag surf thing was supposed to be.
What do you mean? Like, if she didn't do it? She would have been crushed. Like, oh, look at this wet rag at this Chiefs game.
She wouldn't have been crushed by me. I would have seen her and Donna Kelsey sitting there still, and I would have been like,
people would have destroyed her if she sat there still, didn't do anything. They would have been like, oh, fake fan. She's not enjoying herself. She's miserable. She's a wet rag. Like, if you're gonna go, kind of like indoctrinate yourself with the Chiefs fandom. I am like, she has never been as high on like my rankings as she was after I saw her at the Chiefs game this week.
No, Pete.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. What I need to know is if she's doing
fully embracing it.
Is she? Is she doing? Like,
Yes.
I need to know if she's doing the
Dude,
tomahawk
she's
chop.
Taylor Swift. She's a billionaire. She can do whatever she wants with her life. She went to the Chiefs game with like negative 30-degree
I'm not
weather.
criticizing her for that.
And like, I know she was up in a box or whatever, but like that box still looked cold as hell. She was having fun. She was supporting the squad. Like, she has embraced sports fandom. I'm all for it.
I'm not criticizing her for that. Like her being at the games and stuff
with it.
is 100% cool. I am like there are very few pop stars who would go and support a man they've been dating for like 2 months in the way that she has. So I respect all of that. My only question is, and she has no control over whether or not the camera goes on her. None of that bothers me. I just want to know, like I said, and I tweeted, if she's doing the tomahawk chop. Like, is she all the way in? Is she really a Chiefs fan?
And I want to know to somebody who made a comment in the chat, this is not a man-woman thing. This is a white-black thing.
Yeah,
if it's
also
anything.
that.
Like,
yeah,
it's not about.
If they had Michael Cera in the press box doing the SAG surf the same way, I would have been like, "What the fuck is going on there?"
Not to blacksplain for Sean, but this is a black man saying, "I wasn't crazy about this look from this white person who began one of their albums by clearing their throat at the beginning of a rap verse."
Well, like you gotta, but then like, what are you gonna yell at everybody else in the stadium doing that?
Yes.
Okay. Fair.
For the same reason every time.
That energy for all the other like 80,000 people there.
Oh yeah, but again, like I said, she has no control over whether or not the camera's on her. But they didn't show anyone else in the crowd doing it. They just showed Taylor Swift.
What do we think about the jacket?
Do they still play the Tech Nine song at Chiefs games? Red Kingdom.
I don't know.
What do we think about the jacket? Because that jacket was fucking awesome.
The jacket is hard. I just love that every time they brought it up, they were like, Juszczyk's wife. And then what I forget what her name is, because I guess I don't respect women.
Commenter, you're allowed to make that comment again.
Mr. PWHL not remembering women's names.
Sean's using MLK Day to hate women.
Well, no, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm blaming the broadcast, because every time they referred to her as Juszczyk's wife, her first name. I can't even remember the football player's first name. Kyle Juszczyk. Yeah, they were like Kyle Juszczyk's wife.
That was sexist of me that I remembered his name and not hers.
Yeah,
but
I didn't remember either.
My big takeaway was that that his wife made a jacket for both Taylor Swift and Taylor Lautner. So like, not picking any sides on that.
I'll tell you what, the Lautner jacket was awesome as well.
It was way better.
If we want to get into the hating, like the thing that upsets me the most about the Taylor Swift is no one wants to talk about the fact that Patrick Mahomes' wife is all of a sudden just best fucking friends with Taylor Swift. That's bullshit. This is a woman that everyone hated, and all of a sudden she's best friends with the biggest pop star in the world. I don't rock with that.
Yeah. Well, what a lovely place to leave off. We've got so many good hockey games today, though. I'm excited to discuss them tomorrow.
I'm pretty sure the PWHL is off today.
Most importantly, though, tomorrow we have, and I have to edit this down like crazy, but we have a conversation with Sean Dursey of That's Right, Sean, the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah.
How about that? We got a Coyote on the pod, and it is possibly the most wild conversation we've had with a player. It's fucking amazing. Do not miss it. Subscribe to the YouTube, because we're probably going to have to put a shorter version so it fits in the episode. We talked to him for over 50 minutes. We might end up putting the full cut on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube, really, really, really be subscribed to the YouTube, and you could see the full version there. And we'll have a slightly edited version on the episode tomorrow.
I do want to say, like, it's important to watch the full one if the full one gets made available, because the character arc of this interview is very important. We start off the first question, we ask him the dumbest question of all time, and he doesn't know what to do with it and isn't really like playing the game with us. And then by the end, he's playing the game with us more than anybody has ever played the game with us. Yeah, it's amazing. So subscribe to the YouTube, smash every button you can on all the various areas, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.